So when I went looking for the couple posing images that you might have seen on one of the previous films, I'd forgotten about this series of images that I did with a couple on a workshop, kind of demonstrating different ideas for silhouettes. This again can be used just not as silhouettes. It could be shot in the middle of a field, top of a hill, anywhere you want. But there's just some kind of posing ideas that you might want to actually bring into your bride and groom, or even just a couple photography or whatever it is. Won't quite work for brother and sister images. Okay, so it's mainly a couple that are together. So in this case, we're looking at it's a wet day on a workshop, and I've got locations that allow us to stay dry. But this kind of image here, where it's using the kind of the aperture that's looking out onto the beach, is a kind of a perfect place for us to kind of subtract all the light from what is in front of them. And basically, I'm just exposing for the light that is behind them. So pretty much instantly, I've got that kind of silhouette effect and things really. This kind of horizon line that's running through the actual at the back, yeah, you can actually change where that is within the image. So you can go further to the ground to kind of make the horizon disappear more, lower it down. Or of course, you could get a step stool or a ladder to actually get up higher to put the horizon much, much higher. But obviously then we'd see a lot of beach and everything else. But here we're looking specifically at the posing, and there's some kind of trigger kind of ideas. So in other words, the first one, you know, may I have this dance? I think when we're looking at the image, you can see straight away it's kind of that acceptance. It almost looks, you know, very old school, the classic kind of almost Bridgerton kind of level. She's using the hand, or the arm I should say, closest to camera position to basically take the dress as if to lead it. I do work from quite a distance away, as you might have heard in previous films. So I'm not really a touchy-feely photographer. I work at quite a distance. So I'm using commands or requests to actually kind of change the image and things really. So, you know, when I'm saying, may I have this dance, I can kind of shout out to the couple. It's like, okay, both stick out our hand towards each other and just kind of take it as if you're asking her to dance. And then basically put all the weight onto your front foot, I should say, for the bride, and then actually stretch your other foot backwards down the wall and kind of pick up your dress with your left hand. And I'm giving very, very specific instructions. And by doing that, you can work at a distance and you'll gain a lot of time back and things. So this is a real simple way, but realistically, the pose works because she's got that slight bend on the actual body, and that is created from the forward foot that has all the weight on, and then she's put the foot, the balance foot or the pose foot towards the back, and that gives us that lovely kind of bend on the waist there. As you can see, it's exaggerated, of course, by the arm. I would prefer, in fact, the arm that has the dress, the elbow to break a little bit with that old thing that I kind of talk about. If it bends, you bend it. Then the proposal, this is almost like, okay, bring both of your hands together for me. Just get a little bit closer. Again, groom, put all the weight on your front foot, step back just a little bit with your forward foot for me. So that actually is the one closest to camera position. And then to the bride, obviously kind of put all the weight onto your right leg and take your left foot back a little bit more. And then get as close as you can so it kind of feels like you're going to propose to her. That's the storytelling element. 1, 2, 3 shots. Then we can actually get them leaning in with their bodies towards each other, heads towards each other, almost forehead to forehead, nose to nose. It's amazing what you can basically kind of add into the equation really, to add some extra kind of ideas and things really. But it starts again from the feet, of course. Once they're getting closer to each other, then we can pretty much almost get the hips to touch. Remember, with silhouette, you know, the last thing you want them is to look away or look at you, because you need to see the profile of the face. And in exactly the same way with the body, the last thing you really want is a body turned directly to camera position or away from camera position, unless you're doing kind of that looking out to sea shot where they've got their hands kind of connected, etc. But for here, really, this is the yes. So from the proposal, this is the yes, where she starts to move in closer. And of course, you can kind of zoom in and out with your feet or zoom in and out with your lens once you've got the full length image to actually kind of do the kissing and so on with it. Or you might want to actually do all the full length images first, of course, and then actually kind of move closer in and actually do a bit of a repeat as well. Okay, so let's do the kind of the proposal again, and then actually let's do the yes stance and so on with that. So I'd never used this expression before this shoot, and it's funny, when this image came up, I remembered what I said, kind of, okay, can you go to the front for me, and kind of grab both his hands and almost like you're kind of guiding him to your bedroom or your room or whatever it is. I said, it's like you've pulled, all right? And it's again how images trigger memories and things, really. And I've used that saying ever since, but this is where that saying began for me. Whether everybody else has said it in the past, I've got no idea. But yeah, this is what we want. I would just say that she needs to step probably on her front foot more, closer as it were, so that she can lead that kind of leg more. But then it might be a little bit of overkill or overpull to do with that image and things. And that's the kind of just the close-up image as well of exactly the same thing, where I'd actually kind of zoomed into the image to actually get the shot and things. As a cropping point, as my rule of thumb, I tend to actually crop above the knee. So that will either be the knee of the bride or the knee of the groom. It's usually in this kind of stance because she's pretty much disguised by the dress, even though we can see the shaping of the leg a little bit here and here. Realistically, it's actually just going above his knee as such. But loads of negative space really makes it look great in an album and great on a wall image as well. And then, you know, you dancing is basically going through a series of twirls. They are on a wall that is probably only about 12 inches wide, and there is a bit of a drop the other side. They're nice and safe, you know, they're fully in control. I'm telling them to pretend to twirl. So in this case, all she's doing is she's turned her body towards me a little bit by the feet change, and then basically she's just swooshing her hips back and forth, and he's pretending with his hand to obviously kind of spin her around and everything else with it. And then last but no means least is the love heart. And again, if you get no other shot done on the day, try and do the love heart image. Try and do a better job than me as well, because in this I've kind of lost their faces within the image, which is just a bit of a shape, and all I had to do was drop those back the shoulders down just a little bit. Even though the heart was good, I was kind of getting carried away and everything else with it, and it was cold and it was wet and it was damp, and basically I've got a dozen photographers around me as well, but that's no excuse. It's not quite the perfect heart, but it does a good job.